Hi, my name's Matt Alcorn from The Last Drop of Ink, and in this podcast with Andy Hamilton and Dave Furness, we'll be covering descriptions that sell. So, why are descriptions so important to online selling? Buyers, the big one is that the buyer can't pick up the item or the product like they can do in a shop. They can't touch, they can't feel, and they can't smell the item. If you're in a retail store, you can walk around, you can read the back of a can, or you can look at the back of a package, you can check the sizing, you can feel the weight. And the other one, which when we spoke about this earlier, Dave, was that you can understand the size or the scale of the product as well.
Yeah, I mean, that is important. I mean, with cameras and images being so good these days, when people are uploading images to the website, if they don't include a form of scale, it can be somewhat misleading. I know, for example, my girlfriend bought some watch parts off eBay for some art project she was doing, and on the image they looked really big, like cogs and wheels from the inside of watches, and when they came, they were really small, probably about the size of a 5p sort of size, and she was a bit gutted, really. But so yeah, I think that's an important one, is don't be misleading with the product's image as well.
Absolutely. Try and get some form of reference point in, because we're really good estimators. So in the case of the watch parts, then putting a penny piece or a 5p coin in there, or if it's something much bigger, such as a bird table, for example, put a flower pot or something next to it, so you can quickly gauge the size of it to get the proportions right.
Yeah, and even if that's something that they can't put in an image, going back to the key of the description, even just putting dimensions or just even one size does give you a lot of clues as to the overall scale of whatever you're buying.
And again, Andy, just a really daft question for you. When was the last time you bought something online or in the real world without actually looking at it first?
Well, I guess it was books, but I tend to, if I am going to buy a book, I tend to read the reviews of it, so I have some kind of idea what the book. So the last book I bought was a book about brewing by John Palmer, and a really comprehensive book, and it came recommended from another book that I'd read, a book about yeast, and they, halfway through it said, if you want to buy any book on brewing, this is the book that you should buy. So I went out and bought it, and that's without really knowing any of the content of the book beforehand as well.
The review not sorry to butt in there. Was the review not part of the description of the product before you'd even seen it? You'd been given a description as in the form of a review before.
I guess I ignored the description of the book because the reviews that I heard were so glowing. Then I didn't really, I knew what I was buying before I came to the description. So I'm probably not the man to ask about the descriptions on that note, anyway. But I did read the description for my internet radio. That was the last sort of big online purchase that I made. That was about 120 quid, I think I spent on that, and that. The descriptions, there were certain things that I needed it to do. I needed it to have a USB port on the front, so I needed to be able to plug something in it so I could play MP3s through a USB stick. I needed it to pick up international radio, so it plays 10,000 different stations. I needed the sound to be good, and I also wanted it to play FM and DAB as well, so I could still pick up terrestrial stations without too much trouble. And the one that I bought fitted all of those, and there wasn't really anything else within the price range that I wanted to spend anyway that did the same. So yeah, the description was very important. When it arrived, though, it was a big bulky thing. I was kind of taken back a bit by how heavy it was, and perhaps if I'd seen it in a shop, I might have gone for a slicker model. I couldn't really tell online what it was going to be like. It had the dimensions, but I tend not to look at those, and you can't. If you can look at the dimensions, they're just numbers, and unless you work with those direct dimensions all the time, there's nothing visceral. You can't hold it. It's very difficult. So I like it when you see things when you've got like a 5p piece next to it or something, so you can see. Back to those watch parts. If there was a 5p piece next to them, you'd gone, blimey, that's not the size I thought they were. And it's only a tiny thing, and they do it with a lot of things.
It's just to get the proportions right. That's a big one.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess descriptions. Yeah, you do need to have a good description, but you also need, perhaps to compare it against something that's every day, and I think that really helps.
Okay, so there's a note there to do with reviews, and reviews being, are they a good enough description? Can we sell a product with actually no description at all, but use a review as the description? I think we'll pick that up in another podcast. I've got that jotted down for later. So moving on, when we're selling something online, it's really our job to help the buyer to be able to touch, to feel, and to smell the product almost. So
actually, just to pick you up on that slightly, Matt. Morrissey, when he used to buy records, he used to smell them on the bus on the way home. So yeah, you laugh about smelling the products, but Morrissey is a weird man, but there are some strange people out there.
Morrissey's probably not your typical e-commerce buyer.
I think you're probably right.
Well,
actually, anything.
Not to knock that Gary Vaynerchuk springs to mind with his wine tasting. So that can't be dismissed. So and again, Andy, with your beer tasting, being able to put the smell, the aroma, the taste, the mid-taste, and the aftertaste into words, is that's what you're essentially doing with a recipe in your book. That you're describing, is selling that recipe to the customer or the potential customer, which is the actual reader, so that they can make the decision if they actually want to invest the time to make that recipe themselves.
No, that's exactly right, man. I've noticed when I write a homebrew recipe up on the website, the more descriptive I am about the taste, the more it gets read. So yeah, exactly. You need to find a selling point. And so when you've only got words, you need to be able to describe a taste or a flavour or the experience, I guess, that you're going to have with it. You need to be able to describe that very well, and that is part of the battle, I think, with e-commerce.
And moving on from there, it's our role to give the information which the customer needs, so that they can make the informed decision whether that item is the right item for them. And again, especially when it comes to a recipe, is the time which they're going to invest in not only the products to source the separate ingredients to actually make that recipe, is the outcome going to be what they expect? And in Dave's girlfriend's example, maybe not. Andy, in your example with the radio deck, maybe not for it.
Yeah, well, I must admit I was happy with the radio. It was just a bit big.
Fair enough. Okay, and again, we've touched on the topic of sizing. Okay, and the other one is weight as well. And again, we've mentioned about using coins as reference points. When we're in, say, I hate to use the Tesco's or any shopping market, or supermarket, then we'll go in and we'll look at products which we've not seen before. We'll pick it up, we'll turn it around, we'll judge the weight for it. And again, online, our customers can't do that, so they're relying upon our descriptions, whether they be written, bullet points, or video, or another means to describe the actual product. They're relying upon us to do that. And with our marketer's hat on as well, it's for us to show and to explain to the customer the benefits of the product, to show them accessories which go with that product, related items, just like they'd see in a shop, so that if your TV stand in a supermarket, then you're going to have associated products with that. If you're in the pet aisle in your supermarket, then you're not only going to have, say, the dog meat, you're also going to have extra treats on the shelves as well, and you're also going to have the dog biscuits too. And again, it's really about for us to help the buyer make the emotional attachment with the products, and so we can help them understand how they would use it maybe on a daily basis, or how good they would feel if they were to wear it, for example, if it's a dress for a special occasion. And then when it comes to highly technical products, to convey the key attributes, or the data heavy attributes. So a few moments ago, Andy, you mentioned about the radio deck. So what you wanted the 10,000 stations, you wanted the internet connections, right. You wanted the DAB. You had a couple of keywords which you were specifically looking for, and that would have been lost amongst lots of other stuff if it wasn't in a table, so that you could look down the list and do a mental checklist.
That's exactly right. I could scan down the list and I totally married those two up together. Yeah, exactly, Matt.
Okay, and something which we'll be touching on later is not everybody sells brand new products, and when we're dealing with second-hand products is to point out any defects, and we've got a special little tool which you can use, something called the criticism sandwich, which we'll be looking at a little bit later. moving on to the next section, and this is called what tools do we have at our disposal. And the best thing about this is that we do have 3 core tools which we can use. The first, and again we'll go into these in more details in a few moments, we've got title, bullets, description. We've got use benefits rather than features, and the criticism sandwich, which we just touched on a few moments ago. And we'll dive in and have a look at these now. The first one is titles, bullets and descriptions, and this is really just to point out the importance of the ordering, and that the title is the description is one of the last things in our arsenal of tools to convert the customer. The most important tool which we've got, and it doesn't matter if you're selling on eBay, Amazon, your own website, or even friends in a conversation, it's the title of the product or the title of the service. It's because that's what the customer's going to do. They're going to go to Google and they're going to type that product in. They're going to type in wedding dress. They're going to go to eBay and type in wedding dress. They're going to go to Amazon and type in wedding dress. And if we haven't got a title which leads the customer to our product or products, then they're never going to get into the bullets, which is the next stage, and they're never going to get to our description. So getting the title right, getting the keywords right is critically important. And again, I've got that noted down for a podcast for a later date as well. And so getting our keyword research and our different titles for our different selling platforms as well. Okay.
Again, I totally agree with what we're saying there. If you've got the best description in the world, if your title's rubbish, no one's going to get to read your description. So it's all about having a good description isn't going to be the be-all and end-all of getting your items looked at online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You could have the most brilliant sales copy ever conceived, but if nobody ever views it, then you're never going to get a conversion on it. And that's why they're so important. Again, we'll cover that into a later podcast. So in this tool set number 1, we've titles. We need to be able to get the customer to the actual description. And the next piece of with the bullets is that when you actually get into a product description, you don't want to read a page and imagine if I gave you a piece of A4 paper right now and it had a full description for maybe a wireless mouse and keyboard set, for example. You're not going to sit there and read the entire lot. The only chance of you actually sitting there and reading the entire lot if you've been given a brief summary at the beginning, and the best way to give customers a summary is through the use of bullet points. And it doesn't have to be 20, 5 is just enough, and Amazon proved that almost to the point that 5 bullet points is just enough so that we can give the information in bite-sized chunks. And again, when a customer comes to a product detail page, they're scanning the page, they're looking for navigation aids. So if you can think of the Amazon page, don't visit the Amazon page, just think of it in your head. In the top left hand corner you've got the Amazon logo. Along the top you've got a great big search box, and you've got your cart to the right hand side, and then on the top left hand side below the logo you've got the product image, then you've got the title, you've got the price, and then the buy box to the right hand side, and then just below there you'll have the bullet points of a description. And again, the customer's looking for these little markers in their head, so when they view the page, it's like if they just get acquainted with the page very, very quickly, so that the moment they've got their page well structured in their head, they know how to get out if they want to. Again, they can just click back on their web browser. It's our job to give them a compelling, short, brief overview of the product through bullet points, so that they can work out very, very quickly, ideally within 10 seconds of the page loading, whether that item's the right item for them or not, as the case may be. And then once they've kind of qualified themselves out with the bullet points, is that then and only then will they move into reading the full description. Like if you're not interested in the product, you're not going to stay on that page any longer. You're just going to carry on, go back, you're going to find an exit. Remember one of those navigation boxes, whether it was the Amazon logo in the top left-hand corner, to go back to the home page, the search box to make a new search, the back button, or the cart for the other items you have in your cart at the same time. If the customer's not interested in it, they're not going to hang around. And again, the bullet points can quickly qualify them out, or it can qualify the customer in. And again, once the customer is there, we can then, with the full-blown description, is that we can, the customer's basically saying, I am now interested in this product, and that's where we can use a decent sales copy to introduce the customer and help the customer make an emotional attachment into the product for it.
It almost reminds me of when you buy a house. Like you'll go through and you'll break down exactly what houses you want to look at. You know, you'll have a criteria, you'll have the amount of money, you'll have an area. You'll go through that, and then you whittle it down to a few houses, and then you actually go and see them. So each stage of the game, you're committing more to this product until you actually buy it. So we're doing exactly the same when we buy something online. You know, we're scanning through it at first, just through a whole load of products, and then when we whittle it down to a few, it gets more and more specific, and we're more likely to read more or go into the house. You know, we're more likely to engage with that product more and more. And I can see with the better of a description, then you know the more likely you are to enter the house.
And again, just thinking of, because you bought your own house very recently as well, just thinking back to the pamphlets that the estate agents gave you, because again, a house is just a product, and again, selling online, it doesn't matter whether it's if it's a mouse mat or it's a house, it's exactly the process is essentially the same. So going back to the documents which they gave you, on the front page, was there like an executive summary? Was there a short version of the key attributes of the house which you were being presented in that document?
There was, and actually, I didn't really look at those, because I did it all online, strangely enough. So on Rightmove, they break it up, and you look at a list, and it's got some of the key attributes to the house. And then, if you want to look further, then you do the read more, I think it is, and it brings it up more. So you've got the bigger description. So there was two stages to the description of the house that I looked at. So sort of, yes. And I think it was those 2 bits of paper that they'd scanned in for some of them that you looked at. So they had the floor plan on it, they had pictures of the rooms inside. They didn't have pictures of the neighbours, because I might have thought twice if they had.
Fair enough, I can fully understand why. So moving on to the second tool which we've got in our arsenal, and that is the fundamental difference between a feature and a benefit. And I know that I'm really guilty of this, and it's a really common mistake to make. And I found a quote off the internet, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant, because it summarises it in one line, which is, a product feature has no value until you explain its relevance to the buyer. And that kind of sums up the difference between a feature and a benefit. Now, Andy, I've given you quite a monologue which I've taken off Wikipedia, which explains about 1080p. Would you like to just read that back to us?
I would love to, Matt. 1080p is a set of HD high-definition video modes that are characterised by 1080 horizontal lines of vertical revolution and progressive scan, meaning the image is not interlaced, as with the case of 1080i display standard. The term assumes a widescreen aspect ratio of 16:9, thus implying a resolution of 1920 times 1080, 2.1 megapixels. Oh, I bored myself.
See, that's amazing. Yeah. I read that in my head and that was boring, but the way Andy reads it, I wanted to hear more.
So that paragraph which Andy just read us was absolutely, it was factual, it was to the point, it was technically accurate, but it was all features, it wasn't any benefits. Now, Dave, I rewrote this one. Would you like to read this one back to us as well, please?
I will give it a shot. Let's have a look. So 1080p means that you'll have a full high definition picture, so that the quality of the picture is far superior to that of a normal TV. 1080p means there's 1080 lines on the screen. Normal TV resolution is only 480, so the detail with 1080 is at least twice as better, making fast-moving programs like sports or action movies appear clearer to the eye.
There you go. So that still had the essence of the technically correct description before, to do with 1080p, but this was packaged up more to Joe Public, to bringing the product or that feature into plain English so the customer could see the benefits from it. So as a
looking at that, Matt, sorry to interrupt there, but looking at that, you know, my girlfriend loves Formula 1, and you know those cars go quite fast, so the fast moving programs, that immediately that's a benefit I can see, and I'd want to buy a TV like that. If I looked at the top one, I wouldn't equate that with Formula 1 at all. I just look at that and, you know, I'd equate that with boredom. I'm already being sold the product by seeing what it can do for me, you know.
Mm-hmm. And the other one is that you've been told that it's at least twice as better as normal TV. So somehow the TV which we've got downstairs is only half as good as a 1080p enabled device.
I mean, I spent a long time in the consumer electronics sort of industry, and it's so true, because we would get people who came into the bricks and mortar shop and they'd be asking what 1080p is, and when you went into the detail that Andy just did a minute ago about the progressive scan and 1080 lines of vertical resolution, you just saw them glaze over and almost just want to walk away from you. But when you start explaining that, do you watch a lot of films? You know, you won't get any ghosting, or you'll get sharp picture quality. That was the emotional sell, which you're like, yes, I do watch fast sport, Formula One, or I do watch action movies. And I think again that was the key detail there between a feature and a benefit. You'd explain the feature and turned it into a benefit for the customer. I think that is critical in your description.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I've been and done, I've been and got some examples. Now, if you're listening to this right now, the links will be on the website. Now, Andy and Dave, there's links in the document which you've got in front of you. And if you'd like to click on the Hairy Dieters Love Weight link there. Okay, now this is, ironically, it's not the 50 Shades of Grey or either their other two counterparts, which are the #1 selling book on Amazon currently. It's at all Andy's booze for free. Another plug in there for you, Andy. The Hairy Bikers, Si and Dave, have been doing a 4-part series on the BBC called The Hairy Dieters. And again, I just finished watching the last episode last night, so I can relate to this very well. Now, their description is absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm going to read this one back. So, this is the description from Amazon, and they've almost lost 6 stone between them, and you can lose the weight too. Cy King and Dave Myers are self-confessed food lovers. Food isn't just fuel to them, it's their life. But like many of us, they've found that the weight has crept on over the years. So they've made a big decision to act before it's too late and lose some pounds. In this groundbreaking diet book, Cy and Dave have come up with tasty recipes that are low in calories and big on flavour. This is real food for real people, not skinny minis. There are ideas for family meals, hearty lunches and dinners, even a few knockout bakes and snacking options. The Hairy Bikers will always love their food. Pies and curries won't be off the menu for long. But using these recipes and following their clever tips and heartfelt advice, you can bake your cake and eat it and lose the pounds. So that is quite a good description. Probably not very well read out by myself. I do apologise. But there's a couple of key points in there. So the first of all is that how to love food and lose weight. So that's one of the biggest things. Like somebody who wants to lose weight and go onto a diet, then they don't want to lose their love of food, and immediately they're qualifying lots of people in, because I don't want to go on a diet, I want to enjoy my food, and this is saying that I can go on a diet and still enjoy my food. That's fantastic.
I mean, I've seen the Hairy Bikers, and they don't look like salad lovers themselves. So.
No, they don't. To be fair, they do have a few pounds that they can lose.
Exactly. So, like, automatically you think, you know, these guys do like the food, it's going to be good food. So yeah, you've got that relationship with them already, that you are going to like what they're trying to sell you.
I think it's, as well, if you look at the opening where it says, you know, food isn't just fuel to them, it's their life. Like that you immediately think, okay, they're the experts then. You're immediately being sold that, and you think, okay, I want to listen to these people. You know, I love food. It's not quite my life, but I love food. So I'm they're sort of filling me over that way already.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, another quote is that they found that their weight has crept on over the years. So that they're not implying that you're fat, that they're fat, and it's crept on them, and maybe you can learn from their experience.
But I think any bloke over the age of sort of, let's say, 27 will know this very well. You know, over the years you do go up a belt size or 6, don't you?
You do. recipes, and again another quote here, are tasty recipes that are low in calories and big on flavour. And again, it's not that compromising piece. That's the beginning of it. Is you can love your food and you can still lose weight and you can still have low calorie food which is big on flavour. And the last one, this is real food for real people, not skinny minis. And again, that may qualify a few people out, but I'm guessing that's not the core of their audience and they've just sold them all the way through. So if they've heard of them before, have got even a mild interest in dieting, then there's a very good reason why that book's sat on the #1 list on Amazon currently.
Well, I think the skinny minis, you know, if you're going to be someone that reads Gillian McKeith and sticks to enemas and eating nothing but avocados all day, then it's, you know, you're not the person that likes the hairy bikers. So yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, exactly.
Moving on quickly, the next title which you'll see on the website is the Bananagrams Game. So if we open that one up, and again, this is the top selling game on Amazon. Now this one's really kind of interesting because if you click on, if you're following us on the website, and just below here we'll have a description there and there'll be some links which we're talking about. If you click on that and actually open it up in your browser right now and have a look at it, you'll see that it's a banana with a zip down the side, and it's got these little square icons in there with letters on.
Basically, scramble in a pencil case.
Scramble in a pencil case, exactly. And in fact, that would have been brilliant to go on as a bullet point for a description. So if we look at the bullet points which we've got on there, we've got Bananagrams is a word game without the need for a board, pencil or paper. It's a perfect gift for crossword and word game lovers. The Bananagram pouch measures approx 6 by 21 by 6 and has a zip. The plastic tiles measure approximately 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters each, and one hand can be played in as little as 5 minutes. Now, if we break that up into benefits and features, that would be benefit, benefit, feature, feature, benefit. Now, it's not a perfect description. I think Andy's point on that it's Scrabble in a pencil case, pencil case was probably a good one. But I got kind of lost on the plastic tiles are approximately 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. The plastic tiles are about the size of a 10-pence piece. I would have related immediately to that. So that description kind of shows us the benefit very, very clearly over the feature. The feature was very factual and to the point, and the benefit, so for example, one hand can be played in as little as 5 minutes. We can see that it's a quick game, or it could be a longer game if we made it so. The next item, and again, if you're following on the website, if you click on the link there for the dress, is actually one of my favourite items to use as an example on Amazon, because I think it's actually worded really quite well. Maybe a little bit wordy.
You do like to wear a dress as well, Matthew?
Only the weekends.
Only the weekends with high heels. My Adam's apple gives it away though.
When you're known as Michelle at the weekends, right?
Right, so if we look at the bullet points on this item, so if you've got this item up on Amazon, you'll immediately notice that below the bullet points there's actually a show more link. Okay, so if you click on that, I think Amazon must deem this as too much of a description, and I've hidden the last 2 of the 5 bullet points. So reading those back, make an impact with this flattering chic, glamorous Grecian style dress by Eye-Catch Clothing. The soft, slinky stretch material feels sensational to the skin. The material allows the dress to be manipulated to complement all shapes and sizes. The sexy plunge V-neck drapes in a clinching waist complementing the silhouette. The V-neck neckline to the back ties elegantly to the shoulders. Footless piece that can be easily dressed up or down for all occasions. Made with a combination of polyester and elastin, given a super stretch. Choose from a selection of striking colours. Might be a bit wordy. What's your thoughts there, Dave?
I like it. I think it sounds like Marks and Spencer's could do an advert on using those words. You know, it's this isn't just any dress sort of feeling to it, but being a fashion item such as a dress, it does need to make that emotional connection to the audience, which is obviously going to be women. And I think, you know, this is a weird one for me, because if you scroll down to where the usual description would be, It doesn't have one because
there is no description on that.
There's no description, which is sort of going against everything we're saying in this podcast. But they have incorporated everything that you would say about this in the description, in the bullet points. The only thing that is perhaps missing would be a size, a length, so you know how long it would be. So maybe the taller woman would want to know how long it is. But other than that, it's incredibly descriptive in terms of, like I say, the words it's using, and again, the pictures are brilliant. So yeah, it's very good. It doesn't have a description, but I think it's covered most of the basics in the bullet points.
Just on the topic of having no description, this item doesn't need a description because it's got X number of reviews in there, and it's got 16 5-star reviews and only one star, 5 4-star, and 1 3-star. Now, if we look what this lady's been written here, that this is my first ever review. I love this item so much I had to say something. I never wear dresses out, but I had a wedding to go to in 2 weeks, and this dress caught my eye. I just tried it on, and it's fantastic. I'm a biggish girl with lots of bumps and lumps from having 4 kids, and this looks flattering, so I know I feel comfortable wearing it on the day. The material feels lovely and hangs well. I think I will get a couple of the other colours. You don't need... You can't write
that. A description with a testimonial like that?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need it. Just put that in it. Give it the bullet points. Just write that in it, and it's sold.
Yeah.
It's sold.
Whoever's working at EIPE, just stick that in your description box.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I guess, like, looking at the bullet point description, the soft, slinky stretch material feels sensational. The material allows the dress to be manipulated to complement all shapes and sizes. Now, I bet that girl bought it because she read that.
Yeah, that line alone. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about that it hasn't got a size. It doesn't need to have a size on it because in the bullet point it says that it can complement any shape and size. So you read that and you think, well, okay, I can wear it then. So I suppose I'd argue with that they kind of do give a shape and a size of the dress. By saying,
no, I understand where I was thinking just more of a length issue.
Okay.
I said that was, but yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. Being that, given it even says polyester and elastane, it will have a super stretch to it. Yeah, they've covered any issues that they may have had about it being clingy in certain areas. So yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying, Andy. Yeah, like I said, I think it was just a length that I see. I look at a lot of dresses online, as weird as that sounds. So yeah, that is quite a common feature to have a length. So yeah, that would be the only thing that I would still think maybe it would make it a little better. But I understand where you're coming from.
Is that because you've got dodgy legs? You like to cover them up?
No, it's because I'm over 6 foot. I like to show them off.
Brilliant.
Just to qualify both ourselves, we've both worked with fashion companies.
Yes, indeed.
Dave's working with a fashion company right now, and I used to work with a fashion company. I've seen numerous fashion companies in my history, so we pick up on these attributes quite quickly. It's just where our experience lies.
Exactly.
And I'm juvenile, that's why I'm taking the piss.
Right. Okay, moving on to the next item. This was actually a suggestion from by an email, and it actually prompted this podcast to be started in the first place. And this item's for an AV lead for a Nintendo box, and we wanted to see if we could make this description better. Now, this is already a well-performing item. It's ranked #1 in Best Match currently on eBay, and we think we could have maybe tweaked this description a little bit more to help buyers convert quicker. Okay, so we're assuming that this item's got a great title, which it has, and it's got a good layout and it's designed well, but the description, we came up with a few suggestions. Okay, and there was a few points which me and Dave came up with earlier, which was that we liked the opening line, that was good, but we'd never heard of Famicom, and I think, Dave, you did the research on this. What is Famicom?
Yeah, I mean, this was a funny one because, admittedly, me and Matt are both gamer geeks, and we had no idea what a Famicom was. So after a quick Google search, it turns out Famicom is what the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or the SNES, was marketed as out in Japan.
We were kind of confused by that, to have it such a rare name, especially not for something which wasn't distributed in Europe, to be so close to the beginning. That would have confused it, and it did confuse me straight away. We did feel that the second line maybe needed some rewording, and some of the bullet points may need to be expanded upon. So if you're looking at this item again, if you're on the website, click on the one there for the AV cable, okay, and you'll see the listing up in front of you. And this is what we've come up with, the description on that, and it's only very, very tiny edits, but I hope you'll agree that it does sound better. A brand new direct replacement AV, and then in brackets audio/video cable to connect your Nintendo console to your TV. Compatible with the Super Nintendo, and then in brackets SNES/Famicom, GameCube, and Nintendo 64. Provides the video and audio signal leads to your television set, yellow, white, and red ports, which is an RCA connector. And then for the bullet points, we've got 1.8 meters long, composite AV cable, compatible with SNES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, and Famicom. Brand new and 1 year warranty, and I felt that that was a much better description. Andy, that's the first time you've heard that from myself and Dave. What's your kind of feelings on that?
What, on the new description?
Yeah, compared to the old one.
Comparing the two, yeah, I could. The 1.8 meters long. I mean, that does make quite a difference. I've bought things before. Scartleaf springs to mind, and it restricts how close you can have something to it. So it is quite important. You know, it might seem like a small feature, but I can see why you've moved that to the top. Certainly.
Oh, it's huge. I'm sorry, and again, that was my personal pain, which is that the TV which we've got is mounted on the chimney breast. And to get to that chimney rest, to get the cables down, we had to bash through the wall, and then the cables run down into the fireplace where we've got the media hub sat in the middle. So I would need to be at least 1.5 meters long, 1.8 probably just about right, considering it needs to come back out the chimney breast and then go up underneath the TV. It's like what we've got for the Wii for the kids.
And I think looking at everything else on there, you know, it's got the EAN number on it. I haven't got a clue what that means, and I don't care what that means, so I don't need that. When you're scanning through, you know, it says multi-platform, and you sort of scan through these different. I'm with you completely on the Famicom. I've never heard of that. It sounds like a feminine hygiene product, really. But looking at the rest of them, you know, I have to concentrate. I have to really look at that to find the ones that I might have, and I might have gone and looked elsewhere if that was the case for that. So yeah, that's much easier to read. Brand new 1 year warranty. You know, you don't need any fluff around those two words. We all know what they mean. And to make them stand out, you know, 1 year warranty is quite a long warranty for a wire, essentially. So yeah. I think it's definitely an improvement.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to the next section, which is description layouts. Okay, and this is the little sets of tools which we've got in our arsenal, which are bullet points, their description blocks, and their tables. So just to quickly describe these in as plain English as possible, the bullet points are the little dots which you see on the left hand side. They're quick, they're sharp, they're snappy, and they're the combination between a benefit and a feature, so the customer can quickly read them and interpret the information. The other tool which we've got is a description block, and that may just be a paragraph. Some items only ever warrant just one paragraph, but then other items may require maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe more paragraphs to describe them. And finally, we've got tables, and tables are brilliant for data or attribute products. And again, TVs, laptops, phones all kind of fall into this area. And Andy, going back to earlier for the radio deck, where you've got products which has got an awful lot of attributes, then a table format suits them really, really well.
Definitely, yeah.
A couple of good examples on there. So for bullet points, Amazon is one of the best examples of how to use bullet points. So a couple of items on Amazon already, and we can see how bullet points are so effective on there. The description block on Amazon is not until halfway down the page. Now, there's a term called below the fold, and that basically means is that when you load up a web page, so if you go grab one of your tabs in your browser right now and you're looking at Amazon, that everything which you see at the top of the page, that's called above the fold, and the moment you scroll down, that's called below the fold, and it's generally considered that anything which is below the fold is not important, and Amazon don't class the description as important according to those standards. And again, besides the title, it's the bullet points which should be the first description which the buyer sees. Again, with bite-sized information, we want to qualify them in, or we want to qualify them out. Okay, and of course, if we've qualified them in, that then leads to the full description. When it comes to the main description, elaborate on the bullet points, so that if you've said something in the bullet points so that it's compatible with SNES, Nintendo 64, GameCube and Famicom, repeat that information back to them, or elaborate it on even further. So you could include that the Famicom was the alternative name for the SNES, which was launched in Japan, for example. Help deepen the emotional connection, if possible, with the products. Again, dresses, that's really quite easy to do, as we've seen, but for cables, there's not really an emotional attachment which you can attach to it, so it is based upon products, again, and it's to be as short and as concise as possible without waffling. And the last tool in our arsenal is the table information. Again, that's really important for attribute and feature rich products. If you can think of a TV, you can imagine different settings and different features it would have, that would make a horrific description, but it would make an excellent table. And again, for telephones, laptops, and mainly technology products, it would suit really, really well. And my biggest personal tip here is just keep it to two columns, the label on the left and the description on the right, and just keep it as simple as possible. Right, less than perfect items. Now, I do know that not everybody sells brand new items, and again, we should consider sellers just like that too. So if this is you, you should pick up on this one. And I guess there's a little tool which we can use, and it's called the criticism sandwich. And it's the idea of this is to put in a negative comment, but to pad it around two or more positive points. Now, I was looking for an example on eBay, and again, if you look on the actual article on the website, there's a link to it, which is a chap's tent, which he's got live on eBay right now. And again, because it's an auction, it'll run over in a couple of days. And
not got long left.
Not that long
left. Only got an hour left to
okay.
it, yeah.
For it. So I'll just cut the description out for you on this one. So, and I'll read this back to you, is that here we have my childhood tent, which is no longer required. It's got a large sleeping area, sleeping 3 to 4, with a large 1 meter porch area at the front. The tent measures approximately 3.8 meters at its longest and 2.4 meters wide internally, and 1.7 meters, which is tall enough for someone to 5'8" to stand up in. And again, that's really, really good. So, just a slide note here that you can mentally envisage most 5.8 foot people. So you've immediately got the scale there. Anyway, coming back to his description, sadly, time has taken its toll, and there is a small rip on one of the corners, and you can see the pictures, which could easily be repaired. Some of the pegs seem to have disappeared over the years, so you'll need some of these too. It rolls up quite nicely and will easily go into most car boots. Now, that's actually a criticism sandwich. We've just not until now labelled that, which is that we start with the good point, size and the usage, then we slip in the negative point, which has got a rip and we need some extra pegs, and then we finish on a big another positive point, which it rolls up quite nicely and we can fit it into most car boots. And it's normally the last thing which you remember, than that negative it being ripped just seems much smaller than what it could have been if we put right at the beginning that one of the corners is ripped, or we put it on the end.
There's two other things I pick up from that. He's calling his childhood tent as well, so he's already given you an emotional attachment.
There's the emotional attachment, yeah.
Definitely. And then if you look through the pictures at the rip, he's put some car keys next to it, so you can see that it's not a massive rip. You know, so you see a rip and you can look and go and think, well, actually, I could patch that. So the negative thing. He has kind of referenced it. You know, he's made you actually feel like emotionally you're going to get something really quite sentimental from him, but you're also it's something you can rectify as well. So you know, it at first, if he said RIP tent for sale, you certainly wouldn't buy it, but I can see within that criticism sandwich you're more likely to buy it. That's a criticism sandwich with some lovely topping on top, I think.
It's not bad at all. Can you see why I picked it up? It was a damn good description. That Andy, I think you just pointed out one other thing as well, is that here we have my childhood tent, which is no longer required. That's more almost saying is that this could be yours, or this could be your children's childhood tent
Exactly.
too. You've got the happy memories like running in and out of the paddling pool and sunshine and sliders and all the fun stuff as kids. Yeah, that's really, really good. So the criticism sandwich, it's about packaging up a negative but putting a positive as like a piece of bread on the top, the negative in the middle as the filling, and another piece of bread on the bottom, which is another positive. So the outweigh, you still get it across, but the outweigh one another. Now, we can't really not touch descriptions if we don't mention video. And the reason being is video is exceptionally powerful. Now, when I mention video, I know a lot of you are going to cringe up, and there's a saying which someone said to me a while back, which I have an excellent face for radio, and it's a common reason not to do video, isn't it? But we really can't do this if we don't mention video. It's so powerful, and video is so powerful because we can help the buyer see the item in the flesh. We can explain any key attributes to them, and we can show them easily. We can point at it. So imagine if we did a video of that tent a few moments ago. We could point to the rip and explain to it. It keeps the buyer on the page for longer. The irony here is that the video doesn't actually need to be created by you. And this is why I've included this in this section, is that when I mentioned video to begin with, you may have cringed up and thinking, well, I need to get professional equipment in, or I don't want my face on video. The irony is that you don't actually need to. In the vast majority of cases, if you just go onto YouTube and if you search for unboxing video or unboxing videos, there is thousands upon thousands of unboxing videos where people across the world have been and bought a product, a phone, a keyboard, a camera, a book, whatever. They'll make a video of it and then give them a review and actually record the unboxing event. You can embed these into your listings, whether it's on your own website. You can't do it on Amazon, but you can definitely do it on eBay. And another huge point here is that some of the manufacturers are up to this as well. Now, if you follow us on the website, there's another link here to Outwells. Now, Outwells is a tent manufacturer, and looking at their YouTube page, that they've had over 2 million page views, because they've been given full breakdowns of each tent, and the latest video which they've got on their site has had over 23,000 page views. Now, I strongly suspect this is down to other businesses who sell their products embedding those videos in their descriptions. And because it's YouTube, you can put it into eBay, you can put it into your own website. The code is copy and paste. You can leverage their hard work so that you can sell their products for them. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and cut to, it's only 2 minutes, and again, if you're on the website, you can view this live. Now, on the podcast, I'm going to play back the first 2 minutes and 19 seconds to you, and I'm going to start that now.
Hi and welcome to Outwell. In this film I'm going to talk you through some of the features of our Montana 6. The Montana 6 is a large tunnel design tent which is aimed to sleep up to 6 people, and it falls into our deluxe collection. The fly sheet that we're using on here is our Outex 4000. That's a polyester material that has PU coating on the inside, it has fully taped seams, and it has a hydrostatic head of 4000mm. You see just on the outside here we have these large ventilation panels, which is going to help get fresh air into the tent and keep you a little bit more cool and a little bit more comfortable. If it gets a little bit too chilly, we can just take the Velcro tabs off and seal down the ventilation like so. The frame that we use on this tent is a steel frame from front to back, so nice and sturdy and reliable, and every single pole from front to back is also identical, so it makes pitching the tent very simple. You can see just behind me here that we have a rain safe entrance on this door, on this tent here. That's just in use so that when it's raining on the outside, you can pop yourself in here and take off all your waterproofs and your muddy boots and things like that before stepping into the main living section of the tent. You see on the outside that we use our Outwell luminous guy lines all the way around the tent. That's so that you can see these nice and clearly and stop you from tripping over them. And then each guy line also has its own retainer on here, so that when it comes to packing down the tent, we can wrap the guy lines up in our hands and pop them in here so that they're nice and easily accessible the next time we come to use it. At the top here, we can see that we have the Outwell wind stabilizer system. This is on here to directly attach the fly sheet onto the frame of the tent using these Velcro tabs like so. When we do that at the top and at the bottom of each pole and pull out all the guy lines, you'll find that that's going to increase the stability of the tent, making sure that you can use it even in high wind conditions. Another nice feature on this tent is that we use the Outwell Easy Pegging system. This is where we supply you with 3 different types of pegs. We have these solid steel pegs here, and we give you 4 of these, which is 1 for each of the corner, so those are your anchor pegs. We then have the black plastic pegs for all the black pegging points around the side of the tent, and the luminous pegs for all the luminous guy lines, making sure that it's very simple and easy for you to get the right peg in the right place.
That video was being presented by Outwells, and there were a few features which you mentioned in there, but the vast majority of what you covered was benefits. Sorry, Andy, you were going to say.
Well, I was just going to say, just for the presenting, you know, watching that, the fact that the bloke had a Scottish voice, he sounded trustworthy straight away. So you've already sort of won over, just by, you know, to me a Scottish voice means sort of trustworthy and outdoors. That's kind of the 2 things you want when you're buying an outdoor product, you know. So that for me was quite perfect. They thought wisely about the person that they chose to present the video.
And then, you know, again, I've just, while the video is playing, is that I've jotted down a few key points in here. That it was the Montana 6, it was a tunnel tent, it was in their deluxe range. You had the vents for fresh air, or to close them up if it got a little bit chilly. His wording was excellent. So, and again, it was a steel frame, so it was dependable and sturdy. Is that you can see the guidelines and easy pegging system. Is that I wasn't being oversold. I wasn't having some again, I'm a slate car salespeople rep, so I wasn't being given a hard sell. I was being given factual information, but it was converted into language which I could easily interpret. Do you feel that's a fair analogy of that video?
I think so, and on top of that, it felt like he was helping you. You know, it felt like these benefits were there for us, and they were exactly that benefit. So, you know, when he talked about the easy pegging system, you immediately thought, okay, well, I can peg that tent out. You know, so you immediately are brought into the tent, if you like.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, Andy, with your comment saying that you felt attached to him. You thought you could trust him. On eBay, obviously, trust is a massive issue, and I think this is a big key point when talking about videos. Like you said, Matt, not everyone wants to do their own videos, and you can obviously take or borrow a few from YouTube. But I think if you can do your own videos, and it is worth doing them, because it does give you that sense of trust that you are a real person with a bricks and mortar business running things in the background. So I think it all helps with this trust, which can sometimes be a bit missing with online sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you can introduce you and your business to your customers. And how many times have you bought something just because you like the person who was serving it? That's you know, sometimes you pay more, but that's okay because you had it there and then, and the service was good.
Well, I'd go further than that sometimes. So there's been times when I know that I'm being taken advantage of, and I know that I'm being sucked in by someone, but I don't care because I like them so much, you know. and sometimes, you know, you just meeting that person, or obviously you can't do that online, so just seeing that person can be that extra mile that you need. I mean, for instance, there's 2 and this is offline, but there are 2 cafes very near to my house, and I've started to favour one over the other simply because they chat to me and the other ones don't so much. So, you know, as soon as you make that connection with someone, you do feel like you want to part with your money more. So with the tent guy, you know, we've all decided that we'd have a pint with him from watching 2 minutes 19 of him.
Only an Andy Hamilton pint, I hope you understand.
Yeah, of course, a homebrewed pint from Booze for Free. And So certainly you would sit there and have a pint with that fella, and you'd buy a tent off him as well. You know.
Okay, and there's another link, and again, if you're on the website, there's a link straight to it here as well. And this chap was actually a consultant to Zappos. Now, if you've never heard of Zappos, then they are kind of the de facto standard in footwear in the United States, and they are now an Amazon-owned company. There is a book on this, which I'm very embarrassingly, I've forgotten the name off the top of my head, which is absolutely brilliant. I know it's called Delivering Happiness. And it's a fantastic book. So again, I'm going to include a link to that because the book was absolutely brilliant. Is his name Tony Shea as well? Might be wrong, but I'll get to my point. And the quote here is that a whopping 77,316 website hits each month were attributed to Zappos videos in video listings in search engines. If you want to translate that into website visits into dollars, in the terms of value, the traffic compared against search ads or other ads, it calculates to $551,731 increase in revenues due to its video SEO efforts. Yikes. And I think that word sums it up. Yikes.
That is massive amounts of money that they're talking there.
It is a sick, mate. And again, just put this in perspective, they do have, at that point in time, they did have 60,000 videos live. Okay, they were aiming, and again, I think this article was about a year old. They were aiming in the next year to do 100,000 unique videos in that year. Now, that's the other end of the spectrum, but that's a whole different league to us.
But that's still almost 10,000 a video, though. I mean, that's still quite a good payback for a video. $10,000, or probably nearer to $8 to $10,000 for a video.
Yeah,
you know, fair enough.
That's paid for itself and more easily.
Exactly.
So let's just consider that for just one moment. Imagine the average video may last 3 minutes. It's probably longer. So the Zappos videos, just say that they last 3 minutes. So if we took 3 minutes times 77,000, I can't do the maths, I'll do it in the article, that's an obscene amount of time that your customers, or their customers, were staying on their websites. And again, that large value, that increase of like $500,000 is going to be attributed just because the customer stayed on that page much, much, much longer than what they would have done without the video. So to summarise that very quickly, any video is better than having no video in your descriptions if you can find an app one to go in there. Okay. Now I'm going to quickly add here, if you know a video exists on YouTube right now, maybe Vimeo or any of these other video sharing sites, don't panic. Embedding the videos into eBay listings is very, very straightforward. I've already written an article for it. If you use Easel Pro, then I've got a slightly more in-depth article for you, which you can use keywords. Both of those will be linked on the actual blog post itself. Now,
and I guess actually there, just to stop you for a second, Matt, with the Outwells example, you were saying that other people were embedding their videos. So if you're making these videos yourself to sell your product, obviously you don't mind where your product's being sold, and you don't mind someone else using your videos. So if you offered the coding on your site as well, so that other people could embed the videos, then that would be quite a nice, simple step to do as well.
It all comes as standard with YouTube. It just all comes with standard YouTube. And again, if you'd made a video about a product, so let's think about those RC80s, for example. If you'd made that video for that product, then you would have branded it towards your brand, so A-Secure in that case, or whatever your company name is, you would have branded that video towards you. So even if somebody else does embed your video in their listing, then they're going to still get to see the A-Secure brand, which was put in front of you for the video. Okay. So it's, again, brand exposure, huge.
And exactly, like I said, almost a sort of bonus spin-off of that is the SEO it brings as well. If you start marketing your own videos, Google obviously owns YouTube, you do get SEO rank for videos that you put on there.
Dave, you just hit the nail on the head. The second largest search engine in the world is YouTube.
Exactly.
What's the stats off the top of my head? It's something close to 48 hours worth of video is uploaded every single day. It used to be 24. They've changed that now to 24 hours worth of video per minute, which is uploaded to YouTube. It's just obscene, the numbers in there. Okay.
Yeah, so go make your own videos.
Indeed. So let's summarize. So this wasn't anything to tell you to go and do videos. So let's summarize what we've been covered. Okay. The key here is to know your audience. So before you even written a description, consider and think about who your buyer is going to be and how they're going to be using your product and how that product is going to give them benefits and what those benefits will bring them. Okay. And spell it out in plain English. Try not to waffle. And again, in a few places we've waffled in this video, and again, I'm prime culprit of that. But just keep it to the point, be accurate with it, and keep it in plain English. There's no need to use high-profile terms. Remember the 1080p description. The Wikipedia extraction excerpt was absolutely bang on, but it just didn't compare to the second description, and it took me 2 minutes to write the second one. And the difference was huge. The next point here is to use bullet points, then a description. Okay, always use bullet points in preference of a full description. It allows the customer to speed read the page, and then if you need to, in a full-blown description, you can bulk out those bullet points. You can use those bullet points as inspiration points to write your description with, and again, make them emotional, help the buyer make the connection even further with the product. The next point is to use tables. If you've got really data-heavy products, put it in a table. Pull out the key details, no more than 5 key points. And again, Dave, that was your suggestion from earlier. Is that no more than 5 bullet points, the maximum in there. Maybe if you need to, slip in brand new and 1 year warranty into a single one to make it 6, but ideally no more than 5. So it keeps it punchy and the customer can speed read it on the page. Remember, we're trying to qualify the customer in, so they're going to continue to the full description, or qualify the customer out. Okay, and again, your customers will thank you for qualifying them out. Again, if that item's not right for them, then that's part of an exit strategy. And again, that's another podcast for a different day for exit strategies, but it would just keep it short and to the point. And the last point here is that you can only do so much. So don't, and like I mentioned it before, don't waffle, keep to the point, focus on the product and its benefits. And they came up with a fantastic saying earlier. If there's more filling than bread on the criticism sandwich, then it's time to move on. If your product's really that bad, okay, let's be blunt here, it's time to find another product or another niche.
Exactly. If you can't say something more good than bad about the product you're trying to sell, then you've probably got a few issues. Yeah.
You've probably got a few issues. Now, none of us, myself, Andy, and Dave, we don't want you to go away empty-handed. We've got something which we would like you to do. So what we would like you to do is go and open a web browser. If you're selling on eBay, Amazon, your own website, it doesn't matter. We would like for you to go and pick your top performing item and see if you can, using the basis which you've covered, which we've been covered here with you in this podcast, if you can make that description better. Can you make your bullet points better? Can you find a video to go with your item? Can you make what is already good better? Okay. Now, you're not alone in this. If you'd like a hand, then you can contact us and you can use our forums, and you can find us at lastdropofink.co.uk/forums. If you've got any questions, you get stuck or you need advice, just contact us in the forums.
So yeah, hopefully we've gone through enough things there today, and hopefully you've learned something. That's as much as we have. And if there are things, as Matt said, if there are things that you're still unsure of, then lastdropofink.co.uk/forums is your place to find us, and we'll be hanging out there. It's been a pleasure having you listen to us, and it's been a pleasure talking to you two guys as well.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
So I'm Andy from the other Andy Hamilton, and Matt, you're
Matt from lastdropofink.co.uk,
and Dave
from davefurnace.co.uk.
And this has been our podcast.
Thank you ever so much for listening. Cheers now.
Cheers. Do we get to do an outtakes?
Yeah.
No, just leave it in.
Thank you.